Friday. Okay, I think we got it. But I know I'm not ready for all the things. Let me get my little mic together. Get my little notes. Ah, it's so good to see y'all. Happy Friday. Okay, so I am missing CEO support group. I think I have had a conversation with like 5 people in the last maybe 8 to 9 days about how much we're missing Queen of Cultivation and CEO support group. Hi, Mana Mana. Good to see you. So good to see you. Look, I'm glad it was on time for you, girl, because I was like, I don't know where we fell, but we are happy about it. But oh, and for because you Monarch, right? So for this conversation, for those of you who may not know, what CEO support group is, welcome in, Kona. Good to see you. For those of you who may not know what CEO support group is, CEO support group is and was a gathering that would happen in person when Queen of Cultivation had their in person event center here in Las Vegas. And we would gather once a month on the last Saturday of every month. And I would provide a channeled message. Jazz would provide a grounding experience, and we would open up the floor, both Jasmine, Danielle, and I, to people to just like speak about what was going on for real about their business and ask questions and get support from community round robin. I loved it. It was so great. And it's been a couple months since we've done it, and I've been having Kiki Keys with the homies, and they've been like, oh my God, I miss your support group. It's been forever. I haven't seen you guys. And I'm like, you know what? I really do miss that time. Hello, hello. And so today's live around the Scorpio full moon today is going to be in CEO support group style because that was what I used to do. We used to do a channeled message and then we would just have a chitty chat about the things. So that's what I'm coming today to do, chitty chat about the moon. Because, man, only once a year is there a Scorpio full moon, and baby, we are in it. Are you feeling it? Are, are we having feelings, family? Because, man, it's a feelingsy time out there. Once a year, one time a year, does the full moon land in Scorpio. And, baby, today is that day. And it's also May Day, first day. And there's this interesting feeling of momentum. Oh, good to see you, Nina. Nina, I have a voice note I meant to get back to you. I literally was like halfway through, and I keep being like, I'm gonna respond to Nina. I haven't yet. Good to see your face. So good to see your face. Man, but the emotions are there once a year. The Scorpio full moon comes and rears its head. And with it always comes an invitation to transform that which has been hiding out in the dark. Welcome in, Parsha. Welcome in, Maisie. Happy Friday. Happy Scorpio full moon, good people. Y'all, okay, so we're gonna do two things today. I'm gonna talk a little bit about how to work with the moon, and then I'm gonna talk about this moon right here and right now. So now, first things first, we probably should check in. Even though I've not created a new Friday check in because the Tuesday one was really Tuesday ish. Friday one, we need some work. I think maybe what I want to know is how you doing for real? Always. How you doing for real? What's one thing that you're gonna give yourself for joy this weekend? That's a good check in. Fuck up my teeth doing all that. That's a good check-in. How you doing for real? And what is one thing you're gonna give yourself this weekend for your joy? For the sheer fact. For the sheer fact of your joy. Okay, that's the check-in. You're welcome to pop it into the chat. Let me give my answer. Or just really, again, take that to your inner altar. The point is that you ask yourself this question, particularly this weekend. Ooh, how are you going to take care of yourself with all these feelings that are coming up? Because you know they're going to come. They are coming. So how are you going to make sure you take care of yourself? I know for me, how am I doing for real? I am rested, resolute, um, and woo, so aware of my feelings. Like, I am having so many awarenesses of things truly in true Scorpio fashion coming from the dark to the light. Truly, literally just in conversation yesterday, I said something and I was like, oh my God, has that been what I've been believing about myself in that area? Oh my God. It's been that. Like that's how I'm doing for real. Is aware of some new revelations and having a lot of feelings about my awarenesses, but grounded and a certain kind of rested. I am. I don't know if it's the aliens. I don't know if it's my decision making. I don't know if it's the way I don't know if it's age. I can't even tell you where it's coming from, but there's a kind of peace that has run through my schedule like diarrhea, that has just made all of this spaciousness, that has me so rested. I have not been this rested since 2017. And the last thing that catalyzed this rest was a depression so deep that it almost took me out this world. And I am, again, also just grappling with the reality of that. I have a bunch more time on my schedule, but it's not spent. It doesn't have to be spent so aggressively healing something in my mentals that feels broken. So I've been filling it with rest. And so I'm rested. So there's the long way of saying your girl is rested. Um, and one thing I'm doing for myself this weekend, I'm about to be around my good girlfriends. Me and Tiffany and Nakona are hanging out this weekend, so I'm very excited about that. My hope is that I'm gonna get to eat some real good garlic shrimp tomorrow at the Kill a Kind festival that's down here to the Silverton with the Ninth Island folks. We're gonna be out here in Aloha. Is my hope. Is that I could go be with the peoples and fill up my joy cup because I'm definitely rested, but I could use a little extra joy. I hope. I have been wanting to taste that damn shrimp. The Kill a Kind people make this Hawaiian garlic shrimp that is got the shell on it, which for a black person, I'm still sitting in that, but got the shell on it, and it comes with like white rice, and it be covered in this like garlic butter lemon sauce. And I've been watching people eat it for like probably at least 3 years. And being like, one day I'm gonna get my hand up in there and have that. And I'm pretty sure tomorrow's gonna be that day. Y'all pray for me. That is my joy thing. That is my prayer that I get to do this weekend for sure. Let me get up in the chat. How are y'all doing? Maisie says, for real, feeling scrambled. Seeing you in it. Seeing you in it. Seeing you in it. And for joy, spending some time outside. Again, thank you for taking care of yourself, Maisie. I cannot tell you. This is another thing that's just been loud for me in the space, particularly with this full moon, is like where you can, because some of us live in places where we can't, but where you can, getting outside, getting some sun, rejuvenating yourself with nature, such a good place to put overwhelm. So I'm glad that you're giving yourself that, Maisie, as well. Nina, the unearthing of self is real right now, but it's bringing up so much relief. Look, the relief of the grief and relief. That's giving. That'll preach. That's giving. The unearthing of self is so real right now. Seeing you and feeling you in that. And I imagine, because I'm getting little emojis now in the chat, that I ain't the only one, and neither is Nina. Feeling that, feeling that. For joy, getting my locks done this weekend by eccentric. Oh, cute. Okay, Nina, we absolutely need to talk because I need to see Tisha about a leave-in conditioner. Let me know. Let me know if she has any when you go this weekend so that I may go replenish myself with some. Shout out to Eccentric Glow. I hear that leave-in conditioner is magic. Love, love, and love. Take care of yourself this weekend, y'all, because it's going to be a big weekend. So, okay, why don't, since we're here in the Scorpio full moon of it all, let's talk about what's coming up for the Scorpio full moon, maybe, and then let's get into how to work with the moons, new and full. Oh, bless you. Okay, I need to see you anyway. I'm hoping I see you in the next like 7 to 14, because it's been too long. I got that message and I was like, yes, I fell in, but I'm out. Maybe that's also probably how I'm doing at the moment. Is it feels like I fell in and now I'm out. And the invitation to go in at this moment in time feels like I went in and fell in for like 4 months over the fall into winter. Got kicked in my teeth like everybody else did. This invitation feels like you left something in there. Go get it and take it out so that you can actually close the door. That feels like the invitation for this full moon. It feels like, and the thing, I'm gonna have to probably talk about new moons before I talk about full moons because we need context for this conversation, but I'll finish the statement. The thing about this full moon and the thing that's coming to me around this date and time is that There are ways in which we want to fly and we are encumbered. There is a weight on our shoulders, and some of us aren't sure where the weight is coming from. There is a little something that we left in the room that needs to be revisited, reimagined, grieved, seen. It's going to be different for everybody. And everybody's, and interestingly enough, we're also in a time where the polarities between everyone's experiences are so much bigger. Some of us are going to be activated as hell, running out of this full moon, feeling this like weight lifted, ready to run. Some of us are going to be again in overwhelm, at whatever was needing to come to the light that for whatever reason waited until now to do it. It's going to feel very in and loud. Some of us are going to need to go to our grief space, go to our sacred space, go to our quiet space, and spend time tending to the exhaustion that we are navigating, have experienced. And in that exhaustion and in the surrender to that exhaustion will be, and not even in the exhaustion, in the surrender to being willing to look at and be honest about where we are exhausted, why we are exhausted, if there was anything that we could have done to contribute to that exhaustion, what we can do differently to sit in that, the willingness, the surrender, the bravery of sitting in that thing will alleviate in and of itself a good portion of things that felt unalleviatable in that exhaustion. So for some of us, we're gonna be there. And I can feel it. Like and it's crazy because as a person who channels, it's been a minute since I've channeled a message like that. It's again why I miss CEO support group, because I would always get ready and I would channel a message. As a person who channels, usually, at least up until this last year, I see very direct, I don't see, but I experience very direct like light pathways. Like this information is coming from this area and this information is coming over here. I don't be knowing where it's coming from. Truthfully, that's not. I'm still growing in my gift. But I can hear that there's distinction, and the distinctions are usually like two or three, or sometimes four. And I'm like, ooh, it's four. Lately, it's been like 18. Like I'm like, oh, the people are on so many different timelines, and so many of us are living the exact same 24 hours completely differently. And I think that that's another invitation from this Scorpio full moon, is to get on a timeline that you want to be on and allow yourself the bravery to look at anything that is standing in the gap between you and the timeline that you want to be on, and bring it what you can bring it to nurture and care for it. The interesting thing about a Scorpio full moon in a Taurus season is that, the energy of Taurus, when the sun is in a zodiac sign, it allows all of us to kind of share in the attributes of that sign. And in Taurus season is when a Scorpio full moon happens. And in Taurus season, the attributes of Taurus that I think of here are grounded, care, and nurture, being unrelenting about the commitment that you have to your own pleasure and comfort, sometimes to our detriment, right? So we got to be careful there, but an unrelentingness to enjoying the process and being adamant about the process and being care forward in meeting needs, right? I think so often that people forget that the Taurus is about needs being met. It is about needs being met. That's why people always be like, oh, they hungry all the time. They meet their need. They sleep so much. They meet that need. they be doing a thing, getting their needs met. Uh-huh. On your front, on your back, however you need to have it met. Okay? Yes, 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 yes. Okay. Maisie, we're going to do the thing. Thank you for bringing me into this invitation, because I felt like, for context for the people, we should talk about new moons and full moons. Yes, Maisie says Taurus season is always a Scorpio full moon. Yes, and yes, and yes. So here's how the moons work, and a bit of a disclaimer that I want to give in this. Shout out to Possibility Maven here on the Instagram streets. I love her. I believe her name is Christiana. I'll find out her last name. I will tag her in the things, because she made this fantastic post about honoring one's lineage and the knowledge that you get and where it comes from. And I was like, oh, in an effort to manage Instagram etiquette, I have not been doing that well. And I am now going to do a better job of not only citing sources, but speaking to where these things come from. So thank you, Possibility Maven, for bringing that in. This conversation comes from my conversations with the astrologer, my friend Xavier. My literal friend Xavier. I think he is my friend Xavier on Instagram and TikTok. I will also tag Xavier in this conversation. Xavier had a conversation with me a couple of years ago about how the moons work in astrology. I'm going to bring you a little bit of how that has been living in my life and what I believe to say about the moons. So every time the sun is in a sign, you will have a new moon in that sign. Typically, there's only one. Sometimes there's two. Typically, there's only one full moon. Sometimes there's two, right? So every single time the sun is in Taurus, you're going to have a new moon in Taurus, right? You will also have a full moon in the sign that is its exact opposite across the zodiacal wheel. So I would maybe say that's what 6 months exactly apart from one another is Taurus season and Scorpio season. So on that exact axis is going to be the full moon. Why? Because it takes so you typically only have one new moon in every sign every year and one full moon in every sign every year. The new moon is going to follow the sun sign. The full moon is going to follow its exact opposite. And what it really marks is the moon's 12-month journey back to its original location, right? So I want to talk about the new moon first, just so that we can have a context for where the full moon sits. So the new moon that is in Taurus, and I don't even know when the new moon in Taurus is. Let me see if I can. Somebody know that information, put it in the chat. When is the next new moon in Taurus so that I have some grounding for this conversation? The new moon that is in Taurus is like the one from, let's say, 2025 last year. That new moon is going to pass. It takes 12 whole months to get back to a place of new moon. And what is the new moon? The new moon is the time in the sky where you don't even see the moon. The moon is in its darkness. It is beginning its journey, right? That is the new moon, and it follows the sun, right? The two luminaries, the sun and the moon. And in 6 months, right? Let's go back to 2025, the new moon that was in Taurus. 6 months from that new moon in Taurus, there will be a full moon in Scorpio. There'll be a full moon in Taurus during Scorpio season, right? That moon will have traveled for 6 months, gathering light. And at the peak of its light, will be when it is at the full. And then it spends the next 6 months reducing light, going back to the dark space, which then brings it to the new moon the next year, right? Well, thank you so much. So May 16th is the new moon in Taurus. Taurus will start, the moon will start a brand new journey in Taurus. It will go all the way through the many different phases, peaking in Scorpio season with a full moon in Taurus and Scorpio season, and then slowly but surely reducing its light again and coming back down to the next new moon next year in Taurus season in 2027. So if that's making sense, the cycle is important to note because it is reflective of how we move and how the seasons move. The new moon is the winter, really, of it all. It is the beginning of a conversation. It is oftentimes why people say on new moons it's smart to plant seeds, right? The conversation for those of us who are menstruating folks, it's crazy because also I'm really in my full priestess goddess witch because I started my period yesterday and I was like, oh, we're bleeding on the new moon now or on the full moon now. Typically what they say about women, right, when they're womb having folks, AFAB stands for as assigned female at birth. Womb having folks, if we had no overhead lighting and all we had was natural light, all of us would likely bleed on the new moon because it is the beginning of a conversation. It really is the orientation of winter. And whether you understand astrology or enjoy astrology or not, this is also the ancestral thing that every single one of our ancestors used to follow, whether they knew astrology or not. It was what was in the sky. It is how we told time. So there is a genetic memory in all of us that is so whether you pay attention to the subtleties or not, is moved by the moon. And on top of the fact that just scientifically, our bodies are 70% water. The way the moon moves the tides in the rivers and the ocean is how the moon moves the tides within you. Most of us are just living in capitalism, so we're moving too fast to be able to pay attention. There's no shade. most of us are just, we don't pay attention to that kind of stuff because we got work and bills and kids and things, but if you ever actually stop and track, even completely outside of the astrology, just track when the moon is in its fullest, how you feel and what things happen around you, you'll start to see a bit of a pattern on, the things that happen those times. And again, it takes usually, the moon goes through a monthly cycle of new to full. It's a 30-day, again, very similar, like about a 30-day cycle. It's about 2 weeks usually between the new moon and the full moon. But to your point, Maisie, yes, and to your point, Nakona, uh, Scorpio full moon is always during Taurus season because that's its exact opposite. And so that's the new moon, right? We talked a lot about the new moon and where the cycle is. The full moon, where we're sitting at right now, is the peak, is the pinnacle. If you had to give it a season, it would be the moon's summer. The moon is in summer when it is full. And the moon, just like your womb, has a 30-day cycle. It goes from winter to spring, summer to fall every 30 days, give or take. 28, depends, give or take. Picking up what I'm putting down, good people, right? So when the moon is at its fullest, it's bringing summer energy. And when you think about that, it's like the sky is bright, and whatever energetics are associated with that moon are also bright. It's why when the moon is in the watery, depthy sign of Scorpio and it is full, it is why emotions feel so full. It is why your cup feels so full. It can be why it's like, oh, yo, I'm feeling a lot. And if you're not a big feeler, it can feel like you're getting hit with something, because it's a time where you almost, in some ways, at least the way that people recite it to me of how they experience the moon in Scorpio, if they are not somebody who really sits in their feelings all of the time, that it can sometimes feel like you don't have any choice in feeling your feelings. You may have been avoiding them up until now, but something happens. Either you fall over, or you get sick, or you have an hour to yourself in the car, or something happens and you get enough silence in your space to slow down, your feelings are likely to catch up with you. But it's such a natural, beautiful cycle that the earth provides for us to give us opportunities to experience the full range of human. And your feelings are part of that full range. You see what's in the chat. And he says, I don't know about astrology at all, but I'm super into the moon and the moon cycles from a different knowledge base, earth centered agriculture. Yes, and yes, Maisie, you're picking up what I'm putting down. And so many of us feel this pull to the moon, regardless of our grounding and our inclination. Welcome in, Renisha, right? You may be looking at it astrologically, and there's a power in that, right? But also, again, all of our ancestors were oriented that time moves with the moon, and it really does mark a cycle, whether you're menstruating or not. And being in tune with that earthly cycle provides you the opportunity to get every single human experience that you need out and processed if you were to use those cycles to follow along with the moon. And that actually is what I learned the most from Xavier. I learned about the moon's 12-month cycle and about its peak at the height of its full moon at that 6-month mark, and what you can do with that energy. But I also learned that if you were to take one moon, one luminary that really mattered to you, and track it over its phases, it really does go the full cycle gamut of the human experience through that zodiac from an astrological lens, if it's something that you're interested in. And so I would invite folks, if you're interested in working with the moon, things I love to do on a new moon. And again, you can do this every single month, and it really will support the inquiry that creates great soil for leadership in your life, whether that is the leadership that shows up in your business or the leadership that shows up to run your life, or both. I use it for both. Truly, I am such a, like you, Maisie, I'm such a moon oriented person, that I utilize every resource that, God's source will give me to do what I got to do. But I also really love the moon as a marker of cycle and as a support in finding my feelings and my thoughts and my processes, and giving it space, giving it some time at the mic so that I can actually sit and be with it. Because I am not the most feelings heavy person. It's air in the sun. Woo! Like I be contextualizing what I could feel maybe one time I thought about it, maybe because they're feeling it. But if I have to feel my feelings and process how I feel about my feelings, like I often have to very prompt myself and make a lot of safe space for me to be able to do that. And I think that a lot of us have that as an experience, whether we're feelings heavy or not. This world doesn't create a lot of space for us to sit, be in, process, make space for, honor our lived experience of what's actually happening to us. We live in a world that's happening. How we feel or what we think about what's happening, which is the real work of why we're here as human beings, can be hard to nail. And I know it ain't just me. So look, hello, none at all. Take a sip on that. I don't know why I keep hitting my teeth with this. But okay, so things I like to do with the new and the full. At the new moon, because what it signifies is a new winter. There's a new winter every single month. But if you look at it through the lens of the zodiacal year, right? Look, at least you be good. That's okay. Wait, we got to pause here because Nina said one thing about me. I'm gonna get these tears out. Look, you know what's crazy about me? As for me and my life and my family and my lineage, I am the fourth woman in a row to have this as a thing. I hit like 25, 26, and all of a sudden the tears are going to tear. And my mother is the same way. And I would tease my mom relentlessly. Oh, girl, you cried a snuggle commercial. Oh, girl, I could breathe on you and you cry. Just cry. It's like the tears are my primary way of my body processing emotion. And my mom said, well, I used to tell my mom the same thing. I would laugh at her for crying. And then she said, just you wait, it's going to catch up with you. My great grandmother, my grandmother, my mother, and me. Same. But I also wonder if it's like generationally passed down, no way of processing our emotions. And so when, the cute cat commercial comes on, I'm bawling, but I'm equally going to cry. I will cry and not know why I'm crying. The tears come before the understanding of why I'm even here crying about them, right? Which is, again, I think, I'm so encouraged by the idea that this body and this wisdom and this soul will take care of itself in spite of me. Praise be. Even when I am actively not participating in its care, it will find care. Blessed is the survival of a beautiful being and a soul that lives on. Maisie says, I manage all of my work and projects based on the moon cycles. Yes. Okay. You got it down. New ideation, waxing, building, full testing, launching, waning, wind up, take stock. Yes. And yes, 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 and yes, and yes. And I think that this conversation speaks to the same thing. And I think Maisie, and again, for y'all who are picking this up and putting this down, I think that there's again, an invitation here. I love taking the new moon from a leadership perspective and looking at, okay, a new moon in this astrological sign. What has happened over the course of the last 12 months in the themes of this astrological sign? So, right, May 16th coming up for Taurus, right? It's been a year. So, from last May 16th to this May 16th, what has happened around the themes of Taurus? That's your money, that's your care, that's your pleasure, right? That's how you actualize and bring those things into fruition. How have you been able to meet your needs in the last year? What's worked, what hasn't? And then what new seeds of intention do you want to plant for the next 12 months? That's how I use a new moon. How I use a full moon is what is being illuminated at this time in the energy that that full moon is sitting in, right? So for today, right, we're talking about Scorpio. What are the things that are in the dark that need to be brought to the light that are asking for transformation? Because Scorpio is the sign of that. Scorpio, one of the mascots of a Scorpio is a phoenix, right? They are that with which will burn itself to the ground and rebuild itself from the ashes. That with which says, I will go to the depths because I'm the only one who can swim out there. They're like that ugly little fish with the light in the front. That's very Scorpio. Very vampire in the dark, right? Very what you not saying is the root of your ill, right? And A full moon in Scorpio always, like we said, happens in Taurus season. So the invitation can be what is in the dark and needs to be transformed about the way that you're meeting your needs, about the way that you're caring for yourself, or about the way that you're thinking about some of these topics. And so when you're in a month that has a new moon, right? Think through that 12-month cycle. What went right over the last 12? What intentions do I want to set for the next 12? And then in the full, what is being illuminated at this time? What is being illuminated at this time? And there is power in looking at the axis of the two signs that are in conversation in the luminaries, right? At the full moon point, there is an interesting conversation happening between the sun and the moon. We ain't even got to the other planets at the current moment in time. They also doing backflips and kickstands on most of our feelings with all these Aries placements, we'll be with that. But if you just be in the sun and the moon of it all, there's a conversation that's always happening. Again, another shout out. I really love Colin Bedell. It's Bedell or Beadle, I'm not sure. It's one of those things that you read, but you never said out loud. Um, he had this really wonderful series that he did a couple of years ago. I reposted one of them in my stories today, where he did like a square off between the axis points of the zodiac. And again, it gave, that these two polarizing energies have each have a half of a truth that when put together as an inquiry prompt for you in your life, you could really find a lot for yourself, can really find a lot for yourself and like, oh, how is this showing up for me, right? And that inquiry and making space to think those things when the moon is in those signs on times, the 3 days or so that the moon is hanging around full moon and the 3 days or so that the moon is hanging around new moon, really worthwhile work to do. Truly, the inside job that makes the outside job easier, right? Taking the time to think these thoughts and not just be doing in your life and in your business will give you the opportunity to make sure that your doing is aligned with the person that you actually want to be. But if you never take the time, that's hard to do. That's hard to do. So again, this is an invitation. Take some time on your new and your full moon, particularly on this full moon, to look at what's being illuminated. And interestingly enough, I I want you, as we talk about the Scorpio full moon, I want you to go deep. Let me go deep, bam, deep, bam, deep. Take it to a place, because Scorpio is the astrological sign that provides us, in my humble opinion, the most depth with which we can go to if we're brave enough to look. So, one, right, put your seatbelt on if you're going to take a long ride. Make sure you got your soft places to land. Make sure you got your water. Make sure you take some time off, and make sure you got your journal. Because if you're gonna go deep, right? When they go super duper deep into the ocean to scuba dive, they bring all their things. They're very resourced so that they don't go into a place that they know may provide a sense of danger. They don't go under resourced, so you don't go under resourced either. But if you have the bravery to go, it provides you a once in a year usually opportunity, maybe twice. The new moon ain't even as powerful in Scorpio season, depending on what's going on in Scorpio. But really, at least once a year, this full moon will give you the opportunity to tell the fucking truth to yourself about some shit if you're willing to look. If you're willing to look, something that's back there that you like. You said what? What did you hear? What was that? I'm sorry, what? If you give yourself the bravery and the space and the prompts to look, you can find something in Scorpio full moon that has been hiding back there like a freaking fungus, affecting everything that you do that you probably didn't even know was there if you actually are brave enough to look. And this season, because there's so much Aries in the sky, my hope is that you're brave enough to look. My invitation is that you utilize as much courage as you can muster to tell the truth to yourself in the next couple of days that you may have been fearing or avoiding. And that you come with the Taurus care to say, I know that I can do it. I believe in myself. I trust the universe, source, energy that created me. I trust my circumstances, my wisdom, and my expertise enough to know that if I go do a brave thing, that I'll be fine. My bad. Look, we cried. Nina, that's what we do. Let me get back into the chat. Nina said, not you have me crying in the afternoon. Look, look. Maisie said, take the time and just watch how much more time you get back from tending to the foundation. Right? Again, Taurus being an earth sign, right? When you go tend to your garden, you'd be surprised what goes. Loving that. Nina says, I'm finally finding my footing in my work. And I really got to tell little Nina that she's deserving of these open doors and is. And whatever little beliefs that's hanging on with little Nina, this is a good couple of days to be with them. Do you know? I will tell y'all this. I was having this conversation with Parshell around, and because I'm teaching expertise activated at the current moment in time. We have a new cohort open, y'all. I will just tell you now that we're back to like chaos lives. I'm telling you all the tea. Oh, I still get to see you. I'm gonna telling y'all all the tea. Expertise activated has lit a fire inside of my soul that again has not been lit for a solid probably 10 years, particularly around having to sit with why I think the way that I think and why I do the things that I do because I got to teach it, right? So I was having a conversation with Parshell post class, about like, okay, here's some things that we're going to integrate X, Y, and Z. And, we're big believers of when you open up a door to take a new group or through a type of content, you are taken through that same type of content for yourself. I always say to break the lid off the ceiling, right? What you believe about yourself is the ceiling with which your participants will believe about themselves. And so oftentimes when you open up a new cohort, Spirit gives you the opportunity to blue ceiling, which means that you get to revisit your own little personal onion. One more round and see what else is there for you. And so I was talking to Parshell about Expertise Activated. We're debriefing. We're talking about contribution archetypes and models. Last week, that was the topic. And I said to Parshell, out my mouth, it fell out. You know, I have been a person my entire life who has envied the ability to be invisible. I was the kid who just wanted to fit in. I just wanted to be little like the little people. I just wanted to be like, I was always the opposite of everything that was happening around me. I was like way too tall when all the kids were short. I was the first fat one. I was the only black one in a sea full of white folks. And then I was the only black person in a sea full of Hispanic folks, and then I spoke Spanish, and then went to a place that was mostly white and black, and they couldn't figure out why I was speaking Spanish. And then I went and was immersed with Filipino folks, and I was the only black. Just like that's my life has always been this thing of like, God, wherever I go, I stand out. Can I just be a person that like nobody looks at for a second? Like when I walk into a room, can no one's head turn? Please. And it's ridiculous because I have an energy about me that even if I was 110 pounds and with a sock over my head, you're gonna know I'm in the room. Like just it ain't. But as a kid, I just had these interesting childhood dreams, to the point of Nina, like these little shit that just kind of like sits with me. Good to see you, Maisie. These little things that have kind of like, sat with me, that have made me be like, that have just been like the default setting. Again, like a little mold on the wall. I didn't even know it was there. That I just this desire of like, oh, one day maybe even I'll get to be. I like the idea of being known for my work, but I don't. I want to be able to go grocery shopping and X, Y, and Z. It's also been in the background, right? Of like why I don't do some of the things that other people would have said that I should have done for marketing and business wise, because I'm like, you know, I grew up an hour and a half from LA. I know what it's like to be on TV and it don't go the best for the people. Like this, but that's this background of visibility, right? That's in my space around visibility. I must have said out loud to Parshell, I was like, yeah, I've been trying to be invisible my whole life. But actually, now that I think about it, the times in my career where I have felt the most pain, when I've been betrayed, when I have felt taken advantage of, when I have felt and been exploited, it was because I was invisible. That Again, it may be little for you because it's not your shit. That knocked me over. I was like, oh my God, you mean to tell me that my whole life I have been attempting to be invisible, yet the true times in my life where invisibility actually found me, they are the times in my life that created my villain origin story. They are the times in my life that when people ask you what happened to you with your big T trauma, I come, every big T trauma that I have in my life is associated with me being invisible. Yet my entire life, I've been idealizing invisibility. That hit me over the motherfucking head. That's what's available. Whatever that is for you is what's available inside of a Scorpio full moon, right? Some deep under earth fucking subterranean shit that shows up in how you care for yourself and how you receive care. And I don't know what it is for you, but my invitation from this conversation is that you be brave enough to look and that you just make a little bit of space in your schedule, even if it's just a little corner, a little space in your schedule that you can actually have a conversation about that. Because I think with yourself about that, with your community, if that feels really good for you. But make some time and space for that and utilize this energy because you don't think that me knowing this about myself ain't gonna change how I show up to everything. It likely will do the same for you. It'll give you an opportunity to do something. You don't have to do anything, but at least it'll give you the opportunity. And I want all the opportunities. Give me an opportunity to do what the hell I want to do. Let me then choose my readiness and my ability to be able to do it. Okay? That's the bit of the business, folks. I miss CEO support groups so much. Thank you for feeling me, Nina. I miss CEO support groups so much. I literally, we gonna let Jazz be in Costa Rica on her birthday trip for another couple days, and then I'm gonna have to do a little tap 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 because I don't care if it's just y'all. We could be right here on the little couch in my office. I'll make snacks. I don't know where. I don't care where we're doing it, but I miss getting to have this conversation with the homies, and I am desiring to do it again in person and honestly digitally, but for sure in person. I'm missing y'all. That's what I got to say today. That's the tea. That's what I have on a Friday. I hope it will allow you to bless yourself. I hope that you see the value in doing this work. And I hope that this illumination brings you closer to the person that you want to be. Because, man, what I know about Scorpio is that if you ever seen Scorpios in their life, that ability to roll with everything thrown at them, the inner revolutionary that just exists in their bones and in their spaces, people who have a lot of Scorpio placements, that's available to all of us with this, you know? And I can feel that this is going to be a momentum heavy May. All the readings, guides, even my own channels and pulls are saying that this is going to be the fire is really kicking in for this month. And my prayer is that that momentum is informed with care and that momentum allows us to go light. You know, I'm consistently coming back to that State of the Spring podcast and what Kira said about going light into spring. Don't carry so much of your baggage and your burdens. It's going to be hard for you. You're going to want to fly, and all of the opportunities are going to be there for you to fly. It's hard to fly heavy. Hard to fly heavy. Oh, okay. Well, a friend, there's houses in my neighborhood available. Renisha says, miss you. I miss you too, Renisha. Yes, I will absolutely message you, Nina. And again, come, like, you could just come live in my neighborhood. The things that would happen for us. All I'm saying. That would be so fun. That would be so, so fun. More of that. More of that. I love y'all. Love y'all big. I miss y'all. I will see y'all next week on Friday, 12/12. We're doing Friday lives now. Good old chaos Friday lives. Again, I am live on YouTube at the current moment in time. I think I found a flow that I like. I'm doing lives on Instagram still. It's live streaming on YouTube from Riverside so that I have clips and things, which I think works best for me until people start joining me over on YouTube. At the moment, I can't see the YouTube chat, but I don't actually know if there's people over there. Oh, shit. It says 6 chat messages. Well, where do I see that at? That's hilarious. Just as I say, well, I don't really know where the chat is. Okay, wait. There's a chat. Okay, someone else just messaged in the chat. There's 7 in the chat. Y'all, let Auntie be old for a second and let me find this real quick. Hold on. Please be with Auntie. Be with Auntie. Paya! I can see you. Okay. Paya is on live at YouTube. Y'all, I found live. I found the chat. God bless y'all. Again, being with me through my tech. Yes, I see you. Oh, this is great. Okay, this is part of why I really think I like Fridays. The vibe is just a different vibe. Stu says Claude hack asked to prepare a full moon dinner with the ingredients in your fridge. Okay, let me slow down. What Stu said was a hack for you AI people who want to enjoy in Claude. Ask Claude to prepare you a full moon dinner based on the ingredients in your fridge. And I am going to ask, on top of that, that you speak into Claude. What are some of the illuminations that you're seeing and the care that you may be needing, and see what can be created. Put a little witchy on it, right? What little recipe can be created based on what's in your fridge that nurtures what's necessary for you to stand in your bravery on this full moon. It's like, see, love community. Come on, Stu, you better do it. Stu, the produce guru. This is why you be guru in the produce. We love to see it. All right. I'm gonna say this is my third goodbye. Good old black people goodbye. We're gonna run it again. Love y'all. Oh shit. I didn't even tell y'all when office hours are. Hold on. Let me do that first before we go. Love y'all. Happy Friday. Here's where you can find things for office hours for those business cousins who are looking. Kira is back with devotion, so I believe that's happening tomorrow at 9 a.m. on the calendar. Jennifer will be back every Monday for her Come Home to Your Body sessions at 1 p.m. PST. That is Monday, May 4th. And then next Wednesday, Paya is back with her weekly office hours, 1 p.m. Here we go. 1 p.m. PST every single Wednesday, including this Wednesday, May the 6th. And then on Thursday, May the 7th, Dr. Mynisha is leading her Peaceful Driven Leader. This is for all the parents. Office hours, Thursday, May 7th at 9 a.m. Ilona has her Human Design office hours next week, Thursday, May 7th at 11 a.m. For my people who want to know when Ilona's office hours are, they are next week on Thursday at 11 a.m. I had at least 3 or 4 people ask me. And then I will be back to see you all on Friday at 12:12. And today, in an hour, I will be hosting office hours at 2 p.m. Just like next week, I host every single week, 2 to 3 p.m. So come join me for office hours. If you've got questions about things, this is where you can find me. This was such a good one. I loved this. More of these, please. Happy Friday, good people. Take excellent care of yourself. I love you big. And I'll see you on the flip. Whoop. We're going to end on Instagram. YouTube! I saw comments! Ah! I'm a little bit too excited. I should probably stop screaming. I'm really close to a mic. Thank you for commenting. How fun is that? Truly like a bucket list moment for me. I feel so fancy. Comadre, thanks for joining live. So that I can find the chat. It's right here in Riverside. Who knew? Who knew? This is why I need a Riverside. I need a little something. Little something, little something. All right, friends, take excellent care of yourself. I will see you back here, 12:12 PST, every Friday for a little chaotic live. We'll chat next week. I have no idea what about, but we're here on Vibes. Happy May Day. Bleep.